And the Kruger National Park is one of South Africa's main tourist attractions. In recent months, it has battled fierce floods, forcing rare closures. Well, the gates are back open and visitors are returning to witness nature's resilience. Let's go now to SABC News reporter Nonhlanhla Jele. Live to us from Kruger National Park. All my colleagues are getting to do all the amazing assignments today. Nonhlanhla, you're out having some fun. What it's been like? What are people saying about this long weekend? I guess everyone's just taking out some time. If they're not going to church, they're out having some fun out in the wild. What is it like where you are?
True indeed, Griselda. Good morning to you and to the viewers at home. As you correctly put it, people are out in their numbers here at the Skukuza Rest Camp, Kruger National Park. As you can see behind me, cars have already started lining up, and we spoke to some of the visitors at the park this morning who were saying to us that they decided not to go to church. Some were saying they're bringing their kids, just something different for a change, because they say kids eventually get bored by doing these church conferences all the time. So they decided to come here. But just to speak to us more on that is a manager here at the Kruger National Park for Tourism and Hospitality, Grant. He's just going to tell us about how it's looking since the start of the Easter long weekend. Grant, thank you so much for your time and for joining us at the SABC this morning. We are here, we are seeing a lot of people are coming through. What can you tell us about that?
Thank you for having me, and good morning to all of the viewers. Yes, indeed, it is very busy at Kruger National Park, as it is this time of year. We are experiencing a lot of day visitors, a lot of overnight visitors entering the park to come and enjoy nature. Since the start of the weekend, a lot of our gates all around the park had to introduce what we call gate quotas, where we only allow a certain number of people into the park in order to have control over the visitor numbers. As an example, one of the gates this morning at Crocodile Bridge at 23 minutes past 6 already reached their gate quota. So it is indeed very busy. In terms of accommodation and camping occupancy, the park is sitting overall on an average of more than 90%. That's 90%. That in itself speaks to how busy we are and how many people are visiting the park. What I want to say is that when we reach our gate quotas, unfortunately, we cannot allow more visitors into the park up until such a time when a certain amount of people leave the gate. So in order for anyone who wants to visit KNP, to avoid any disappointment, I want to urge everyone to go onto the website of SANParks, www.sanparks.org, and you go and pre-book as a day visitor so that you can pre-book and prepay in order to avoid disappointment at the gate.
Thank you so much, Grant. Griselda, as you have heard Grant saying, just by 23 minutes after 6 this morning, one gate had already reached its quota. But just to speak to us more, especially on compliance and security, we've been checking traffic accidents on the road, is Upindile Makubele. She's the compliance manager here at the SANParks. Pindile, thank you so much for your time and for joining us at the SABC. Not only are we worried about traffic on the roads, but we're also worried about traffic in the park and also compliance. Please speak to us about that.
Thank you so much, and thanks to the viewers. Yes, we have seen an increasing number of vehicles in our gates and movement on our road. What we have done is to increase the number of law enforcers, which include our rangers, the securities, and our environmental crime investigators, to make sure that our guests are safe and that they comply to the rules. What we need to do this morning is to remind our guests to look for the rules on the back of their permits so that they know what to do and what not to do. People cannot drive above 50 on tar road. Kids cannot be allowed to be sitting on their parents' lap while they're driving, and also getting out of the vehicle where it's not safe. Breaking one of those rules comes with consequences, which can be a fine. And for the sake of our guests, we are begging them to respect each other, especially on game sightings and when we are driving on the road, so that we enjoy our stay in the park. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pindile. Griselda, as you have heard, a manager here for compliance and security within the park, saying they are urging people who come to the park to adhere to the rules of the road, of course, and of course check their permits for the rules of the park to ensure that they enjoy their stay. As you mentioned earlier on, a couple of months ago when it was still raining heavily, we saw that some of the camps were flooded, but as you heard Grant saying to us that 92% of the bookings have been made for this weekend only. That tells you that the issue of the flooding has been sorted and that people, of course, are continuing to come not only to stay for the long weekend but also for the day.